there is absolutely, I'm 100% certain that this is 100% another Ponzi scheme that you're getting into. And I find it fascinating that you're like, that you've gone from OneCoin
to Alcore.
To Alcore. Now you're doing Qubitekk. Stop, dude.
I know.
But you're addicted to it.
I want to believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a hell of an episode for you today. This is a weird interview because I didn't know what the story was going into the interview, and I sort of found out what was the most interesting part halfway through the story. So who you're going to listen to today is Mark Nishiyama, who is someone who contacted me to blow the whistle on this Ponzi scheme, right? But upon calling him, I slowly realized this is not the only Ponzi scheme Mark has been involved in. And as I find out more, I realize that this is a guy who's addicted to these Ponzi schemes. He keeps going from one Ponzi scheme to another. And then now he was coming on the show allegedly to tell people to not invest in what are called HYIPs, HYIP. You couldn't invent a more fitting name, right, for all the hype. High yield investment program is what that stands for. And they're always Ponzi schemes, right, that are promising these incredible, gains, and people end up losing their shirts on them because they think they're going to make a lot of money, and then it ends up crashing and burning and no one gets paid. So he comes on the show to tell people not to do that. But come to find out, after the interview was closing, I'm closing up the interview. Thanks, Mark, for coming on. He tells me that he hasn't actually given up on HYIPs himself. Like, he's once again going into another scam. And that's when I realized that this whole show was much more about Mark than it was about the individual program he was scammed by. And it's almost more of a character study of a person who is addicted to Ponzi schemes. And I know for a fact Mark isn't the only one, because back when I was investigating FutureNet, I found another guy who said, oh yeah, this isn't my first scam that I've been a part of. I've been ripped off several times before in like a very similar crypto Ponzi scheme. And my thought was, when reading that, like, well, why didn't you learn your lesson? And I always wanted to understand the psychology behind that. But this was my first opportunity to actually talk to somebody who cannot stop believing and investing in these insane scams. And so, yeah, I found it fascinating talking to Mark. I really appreciate him coming on. Most people would be scared to be this transparent. But I think you guys will find Mark a complex, fascinating individual. And not entirely sympathetic, but not entirely unsympathetic. I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think about this show, because it's unlike many of our shows where the point of the interview is the point of the interview. In this one, it's the point of the entire interview. In my mind, the more interesting part is sort of the psychology of Mark. And so I wonder what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time. Welcome to CoffeeZilla, guys. Today we have Mark Nishiyama. Is that right?
Yeah, you got it right. Nishiyama.
Okay. Doing my best. Mark, you lost over $100,000 in what seems to me to be a Ponzi scheme, but we'll get into it. And I'd like you to just start off with the company, how you got involved, and just walk us through kind of a little bit of backstory before we dive into this.
Sure. Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yeah, we were all introduced to Alcore about 4 months ago. My good friend from another company that we did cryptocurrency together introduced it to me, and he introduced me to his upline named Alex. I'm not sure that's his real name. I have a photo of the guy, but he would come on webinars with a face mask and say it's Corona, so I can't show my face, but I have a photo of the guy.
Yeah, right, dude. Give me a break, dude. What a liar. I'm going to catch your Corona through the screen. No, dude, this guy knew what he was doing. All right. Yeah, red flag number one already in the bank.
Yeah. So they promised daily payouts of 1% to 3% depending on your deposit amount. So I started off paying in at about $300 and just to test the system, and it did pay out. It paid out, 2%. And, every day we could withdraw the amount, in Bitcoin. So obviously we increased the amount, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. Eventually we put in more, like I sold all my stocks, Apple stock to put more money in, over 100,000 USD. after the maturity of 30 days or 30 working days, which is a month and a half, the deposit does come back, but most people reinvest it. So a lot of us, we lost big amounts of money. In my group alone, about $7 million total. So the whole scheme of Alcore Betting Company was
whoa, slow down. Your
Yeah.
group. So to back up, you have a history with MLMs, right?
Yes. I've been in
Okay.
MLM for about 20 years.
Okay. You probably know my opinion of MLM, but that's fine. But MLM, so you had it like a whole sort of, what do you call it, team, or like, what do y'all refer to it as? It's not a upline or downline?
Just a group. You can just
A
call it a
group.
group.
Yeah, a group that kind of came with you. And you had mentioned right before this, I don't know if it was during the recording, that previously y'all had just had something go bust. Can you tell me? And so people were looking to get their money back?
Yeah, we were in this other cryptocurrency company for about 4 years, and they promised that we go public, and we never did. So
what was that company?
Gave up. It starts with a O, and it has this coin. So
it's OneCoin, dude.
It's one of the famous ones out there. It's hard for me to say because it's still going. It's still ongoing as well. And that's the hard part.
How much do you think you lost in OneCoin?
It about 300,000, maybe around there, of over 4 years. Yeah, around there. Yeah.
And you were basically looking to get back on your feet, reset things.
Yes, trying to get it back fast is what we tried to do. Recover the loss. So this looked really, exciting because 3% per day, times 30 days is 90%. If you keep compounding your interest instead of taking it out, you could basically get, double your money in 40 days. And
now I have to ask you, does that sound suspicious to you though? That like that is, the too good to be true thing?
Yeah, it obviously sounds too good to be true in the beginning, because that's why you put small amounts in. But, it pays out in the beginning. And the whole scheme of Alcor Betting Company was that they were a bookmaker. They had a bookmaking license. They're the house, basically, like a casino. So
they did gambling bets and stuff like that, is what you're saying?
Right. And they use our money to take on more bets. The more bets they can take on, the more money they will make, because bookmakers always make money. And they're sharing the profit 1% to 3% per day. It makes sense, right? Because they probably make 10, 20% per day. So they share 1% to 3%. It's not that much. Okay, it's good. It makes sense. Everybody bought into it. It was really easy sell. I mean, I don't want to say that I'm a good salesman, but it was not that difficult, because everybody wanted to get on. And they could see their daily results. So when it started to get, toward the end, we saw some strange things, like the payments supposed to come out every day at 3 p.m. Japan time. It would be a little bit late, like 3:45, 4 o'clock. And some of my members had their coins actually stolen from their accounts, and they said it was hackers, but I had a feeling that was people in the company actually like taking out deposits.
When they say accounts, do they mean it was were the accounts hosted on Alcore's betting thing?
Yes, on the betting platform.
100%. It was the owners.
Yeah. So, when they stopped the withdrawals, when we couldn't take out the money, they would say, "Oh, don't worry, we're just revamping the system." This was Thursday, June 30th. They're revamping the system, getting a new exchange on the blockchain, etc. And everything's going to be fine by Sunday. So we come Sunday, we're waiting 3 days, still no. And these type of HYIP, HYIP, high yield investment programs, normally when they stop playing, they don't pay anymore. I mean, that's the end.
100%. The Ponzi scheme has collapsed. Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier, but I think HYIP is the perfect name for these, because it's all
actually
HYIP,
but you can call it HYIP. Yes.
HYIP.
Yeah. So at the end, on Monday, when they said everything be fixed, they, I was in daily contact with the company, the CFO, this guy Alan Brown. Could have been Alan Brown, or could have been Georgi Rosinski. We don't know. Okay, I mean, we're in contact every day, and with support. They're really good support. It was spot on. I mean, they would come back with replies immediately. not like other companies. But anyway, on Monday, 4 days after the withdrawal stopped, they shut down the account. It's 404 not found. That was it, and
they took
we
the
haven't
money
heard
and
from them
ran.
since.
Oh yeah.
So there's some people that I don't know if they're the real names. I want them to know that I'm following up on them. Alex Mack, Ethan James, William Cooper. That's not his name, probably.
Is it Copper? It looks like Copper to me.
Yeah, it looks like Copper. Could be Cooper or Copper.
Okay.
Yeah, but he had an Eastern European accent. I don't know why we fell for it. People would say, "Oh, he's an immigrant," and there was another company that failed the next week called ForEyes, and they kind of had the same timing, about 6-7 months, and it ended. And
I mean, these are all Ponzi schemes. Like even your description of, oh yeah, it worked at first. That's how Ponzi schemes work, is they pay out to give the appearance of legitimacy. And especially at the low numbers, it makes sense, right? Like, oh, I'm putting in 300, I'm getting back whatever. They don't mind paying that back, but they're never going to, like, once you told me that you had put in, I think, how much did you lose total? Like $100,000 of your own money?
Well, actually, about 24 Bitcoin of my own money. 24.
Oh my gosh, that just hurts that's painful. 23 Bitcoin?
Yes.
That is...
It is about $11,000 now.
$260,000 total.
Yes.
That's what 23 Bitcoin.
I try not to think about it. Let's put it that way.
You've got to think about it, because you got this is the second time in a row. These are huge losses. Yeah. You got, are you done? Just be honest. Are you done with crypto? You should be done with crypto at this point.
Well, I'm done with ICO crypto. Okay. I'm still collecting Bitcoin, obviously, or Ethereum, but the new ones that think they can be the next Bitcoin, I'm out for sure.
Right. What about these HYIP? Are you out of the HYIPs?
I'm out. Yeah, it's easy to find a HYIP. I mean, they just promise more than it's possible, and you don't know the people behind it. There's so many out there, and it's really easy to fall for. And I guess my purpose of coming on your channel is to warn people that there's no shortcuts to wealth. You need to really, really dig in. Like, I saw your other YouTube video with that guy who does real estate. He's like 23, but he has, passive income of 38,000. It's good. So if everyone can, know about HYIP and just stay away from it, it's so tempting because the returns are so good, and the people that promote it as well, are making money. So you think you can do that as well, and they disappear as well when the company goes bust, because they don't want to take any responsibility for all the losses as well. But for me, I have some people that trust me and follow me, so I'm still trying to find the next best thing.
Oh no, don't say that. Wait, what is the next best thing? Don't say that. Whoa,
something that's safer. That's something that's safer anyway. At least we know who the people are there. But there is no 100% perfect investment out there anyway. So, but
that's true. But there are investments that are actual opportunity. Like, for example, there are investments that are actually doing what they say they're doing, and then there are people like Alcore who never had any kind of betting going on. They just said that as a cover story for their Ponzi scheme.
Right. You could actually bet on their platform though, and they'd pay you if you win. And there were actual matches. But it was never enough to cover all the profits that they claim that they have.
Of course. The same with, I don't know if you followed the FutureNet story. They had a whole thing about they were selling ad packs or whatever. And it's all a cover story for how they're actually making their money. So that's what I mean, is those are investments that they're literally lying about what the investment is. The investment is a Ponzi scheme. But there are investments like you said, real estate. You can invest in real estate. It's not risk-free, but you're actually doing the thing that you're allegedly doing. Does that make sense?
And you have something, tangible that will be there, even if the market goes down.
Yes. Now, let me ask you about multi-level marketing. Just real quick, if we can detour real quick. Don't you think that's kind of also sort of a scam industry? The
Well,
whole
you have
premise
people,
is like
yeah.
basically it's just a pyramid scheme, and the guys at the top, just like everything else, are the winners, and the guys at the bottom are the losers, like just like this.
Okay, well, this time Alcor was an affiliate marketing system, whereas you would get, you know, bonuses based on the deposits of the people that you brought in, and it would be direct to you. Okay, MLM is multi-level, so it's usually binary, where you have one leg, which is your power leg, one leg that's your pay leg, and whatever volume comes in, as far as it goes, it goes all the way to the top to
Right.
you. But to give you some history, MLM was created by apparently a Harvard professor who wanted to bridge the gap between the rich and poor in a capitalist society, because in capitalism, you need capital. So with a small investment, say $500 or $1,000, there is a possibility that you do make $1 million. If you have a good sponsor, if you have a good company, you get in at the right time, there's all kinds of factors that'll help you. But, if you start a restaurant, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're in debt. If it goes bust, then you're in bigger debt. So the investment is small, and that's good and bad, because if it's small, you won't lose too much. But on the other hand, you won't be in it 100% if the investment is small. Your ass is not on the line, basically. So there's plus and minus. And I believe in MLM. It's not really a Ponzi, because someone below you can make more money than you, the way most of them are structured. So it depends on your efforts, is my opinion of it.
Yeah, but you're always you're always making money from someone getting suckered into the system who, by just how the payout structure works, is probably not going to make their money back. I mean, I think you've seen all the different compensation plans and what they actually pay out, and it's only like 2% of the people who ever make their money back. So when you go out and you're trying to make your money back, you're getting someone in the system almost by definition who's super likely not to make their money. So in order to not be a sucker, you have to sucker someone else. Whereas with like a restaurant, someone pays for food, you make money, but they get fed. It's like
Right.
both people are winning. Here, it seems like one person is winning, and then a lot of people underneath them are losing in order for them to win big. It seems like, doesn't that feel like what's going on with, I mean, it's obviously not the exact same, but doesn't it feel like that's what's going on with William Copper? He's winning big, but he's winning big because everyone else is losing big.
Well,
That's the Alcore betting company CEO, by the way.
They shut down the company with everybody's Bitcoin still in there. So they took in a lot of money. Some of these HYIPs take in 10% per day, and then when they see the profits coming down, the deposits coming down, and the payouts going up, they shut it down. But they shut it down when Bitcoin was about up 20%. So they thought, okay, we don't need to pay these people anymore, and they shut it down. So 7 months and it was done. So yeah, they did clear everybody out. It's huge, and we don't know where these people are today.
That's insane. $7 million disappeared like that.
Just in my group too.
How many groups were there? How much do you think
there
was
were a
actually
lot.
totally invested into this hype, as it were?
They were giving us numbers that they have 400,000 members. Okay, something like that. But I think that's a little bit overblown. I would say they probably had close to maybe 50,000, and everybody, if they average put in one Bitcoin, that's a lot of Bitcoin, 50,000 Bitcoin,
Do you think that's a good, reasonable? I mean, how many people did you have in your group, for example? Let's just calculate it that way.
Yeah, actually, I had about 250.
Okay, so 250, and you're saying that 50,000 were invested? That's a lot. Y'all had a lot invested per person.
With 250 people.
So there's there's about 200 groups similar size to yours, and then 200 times 7 million. Yeah, oh my gosh.
We could go close to $1 billion. They could have $1 billion.
This is just not right. Yeah, if they invested similarly, if those numbers are right, they are running away with roughly $1.4 billion. $1.4 billion. $400 million.
Yeah. That's that's a total possibility. Yes, definitely.
Oh, doesn't that just sting? That's so
It
much
does.
money just to steal from people.
It's a lot. Yeah, it is. And
I mean, are you not, dude? If somebody just stole $100,000 from me or $250,000, I don't know. I'm a pretty harmless guy, but I would say I'd be enraged and
oh yeah,
like
it's an emotional roller coaster after something like this happens. You go through anger, you go through remorse, you go through
denial,
depression,
grief.
denial, grief. You go through everything. It's an up and down every day. Yeah, it's like that.
That is horrendous. Are you okay? That's a lot of money. Is that like, did that wipe you out or?
Well, I also teach financial education. Okay, and I tell everyone to always invest only 10% of your expendable cash. Okay, I tell that to people. However, every time something like this happens, and it's the second time anyway in my experience, people tell me, "Oh, Mark-san, I use my money for my kids' education," and I'm like, "Don't tell me that," or "I use my money for my husband's funeral." Don't tell me that. It's like, I told you guys, just use 10% of your expendable cash.
So is that what you did? You just used 10% of your expendable? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, sure. It's an investment, so yeah, I understand.
So MLM's been good to you. You must be winning with MLM.
It's been nice, yes. I mean, the other one we were in 4 years was quite good, yes.
What MLM was that?
Well, the cryptocurrency that didn't go public.
Oh, OneCoin.
Yes.
So you made a lot of money with OneCoin.
We did okay. We were a big leader, and we traveled the world. It's still going on, so there's a lot of opinions out there, and to be honest, they could have actually gone public with it in the second year, but the founder went, is a fugitive, and she ran away with a lot of money, and a lot of things happened. Okay, in that company. And after that one, I was really down and about for about 6 months as well. And then we found Alcore, and we thought this was the next best thing. And then this happened as well.
Dude, these are just Ponzi schemes. OneCoin was 100% a Ponzi scheme, and you went from Ponzi scheme to Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because Ponzi scheme 1 treated you pretty well, and until it kind of was like stuck you in the back at the end. But that's what they always do, of course.
Right.
Now, let me ask you, because I do have to ask, because actually I encountered a similar guy in FutureNet. This guy, do you know who Ryan Conley is?
No.
Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is he sort of was like you, where he had this group of people who were kind of like they were a group, and they kind of followed each other around. Okay. Now, my thought was this. Could Ryan Conley have known that FutureNet was a Ponzi scheme? Not necessarily, but yeah, maybe he should have. I asked him, do you take responsibility for the people whose money was lost because you kind of brought them in? Now, I want to ask you the same question. Do you feel some sort of, I'm not saying you're William Copper by any means, but do you feel like because you were kind of the main person who brought him in?
Yeah, I feel bad that people lost money, especially the people that I know close,
The people who spent their funeral expenses or whatever you were saying, exactly. The examples you were giving.
I told you guys not to do that, but you did it anyway. But I still feel bad. That's why I'm doing this, interview right now.
You want to warn people, stay out of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Don't bother.
Yeah. It seems easy, and it will seem like the next best thing, next to cookie dough, but it's not. It's a scam, and it can stop at any time. And if you introduce people to it, and it does stop, and it will stop, they will lose money as well.
Very well said. Very well said. Let me think. That's most of the story, huh? That's most of the story. Let me ask you kind of what are next steps? Obviously, you probably got to go through your 5 stages of grief on this one too. When did this happen? like just recently?
Yeah, the company shut down on August 3rd. So it's been 4 weeks, almost a month now.
Wow. That's horrendous. You know, I've heard people even commit suicide when these things happen. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. In the other crypto company, yes, I've heard of that. And I've heard people actually getting murdered for selling that coin to other people.
I heard about, are you talking about the Mexico case?
Sinaloa. Yeah. Smart people, to sell to, right? Jeez.
Tell everybody what happened.
Well, it's an article everybody I think read, but I mean the distributors sold these OneCoin packages to probably the Sinaloa cartel people, mafia, and they got angry because they couldn't get their money back. It's dangerous stuff. Wow.
Yeah, and they were found stuffed inside of a suitcase.
Yeah, right.
It's not it's not something to laugh about. It's horrendous.
No, it's not. Yeah, but yeah, it happens. I mean, that's a very dangerous area to be.
That's horrible. Can you tell us any stories from your days in multi-level marketing? Any kind of crazy story you have from like either, I know there's a lot of money going around with the founders. There's a lot of crazy stories with people running from companies. Do you have any good stories since you've been in the industry so long?
Yeah. I have actually a video out on how to choose the best MLM company. And basically what I talk about is when you look at a company, it's better to look at their track record and see how long they've been running for. And if you don't do that, they're a new company. Okay, some people like new companies because the new companies, you get in at the top and stuff like that. So, I think a lot of companies that I've seen that came and fail, like Monavi, which was selling the acai berry juice, that was a huge company. They did something like 70 million sales in the first year, and it died. It died because they sponsored an IndyCar driver called Sato Takuma.
An IndyCar driver, you said?
Yeah, IndyCar.
Okay.
500 million. They borrowed money to sponsor this guy. So, management, especially if they come from a networking background, does not know what they're doing a lot of times, and they'll do crazy things like this.
It seems like networking management always comes from networking people who had been in the industry and gotten scammed. They're like, I'll do it now. I want to be at the top. So they start their own company, hype it up, get all their people in on it, and then they don't
know nothing about management. They know nothing about how to manage a company, and it usually goes poof. And a lot of people get burned because they lose their money. Okay, one more thing I wanted to make clear is that the industry now is so, the MLM industry is so tainted now by these finance-based MLMs, where they promise a return, and it's just more attractive than just buying cosmetics or, I did a coffee MLM or supplements, but the basis of MLM is, Tupperware or some item that you buy and you get
some kind of product.
Consume it. Yeah, but now they're just selling money or this Ponzi scheme, and it's just so much easier. And it's just there's so many out there, and it's turning so fast. The industry is just a mess right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage anyone who is interested in or wants to know more about MLMs to turn on to. There's some great math that was done by, I forget his name. It was Robert Taylor, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he did an FTC report on the math behind MLMs. Or there's another one about John Taylor, excuse me. The case for and against multi-level marketing. That's a really interesting read if you guys want to go check that out. But I'll leave a link down below. But I do think that multi-level marketing, it always has suffered that problem. That's always been the accusation, right? Is that this is not actually selling a product. It's selling a dream. And what you're saying is right now that feels actually to be the truth, that people are more and more just leaving the Tupperware days behind, and they're just always going towards, the hype, the dream, the status, the lifestyle.
Quick money. Yeah. Yeah, and it's a shame actually.
Interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
because
this
there
has
are
been.
success stories out there that actually people go from rags to riches in MLM. You know, that's what the whole industry is based on. There's a lot of BS. I'll be honest. Okay, there's a lot of BS. You know, I drive this car. I live here, like how you do with Dan Locke and everybody else. You know, there's a
Sure.
lot of that. You know, but there's also real people that actually do make the actual numbers. And
No, I have never disagreed that people aren't making real money, but my question is, where's that money coming from? Is it because they're selling so much of a legitimate product, or is it because they've got such a base of people underneath them constantly buying in, thinking that they're going to be just like that guy? And so what I would say is, if you're making a money off the backs of other dreamers, that's a scumbag way to make money. But I mean, other people say, look, I get it. And I'm not here to rail against multi-level marketing. We're here to talk about this Ponzi scheme specifically, but I always find it hard to keep my opinions on this kind of stuff quiet, because I do feel very strongly about multi-level marketing, and I think it should be regulated way more heavily in the U.S. I mean, or outright banned, because I think
in the U.S. now, you need to have at least 50% of your people as consumers of the product. You cannot have more than 50% buying the product because they're getting paid for the product.
But don't you think that those numbers are kind of rigged a little bit by the companies?
Well, I mean, okay, let's put it this way. I mean, we got companies that donate to the Democratic Party, okay? I mean, Bill Clinton was on Amway's big extravaganza many times. Okay, Katie DeVos is now Donald Trump's financial.
They're plugged into the to politics.
The political money that they put in is huge. Okay, I mean, Amway is here, and the rest are all way down here. Let's put it that way. Okay, and it's a huge industry. I mean, we're talking 780 billion. The last count I had. MLM is huge. Yeah.
Mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Ponzi schemes are probably bigger though. Ponzi schemes are big racket. They're making a lot of money per year.
They make a lot, yeah, real quick too. So a lot of them are Russians.
I've noticed a lot of Europeans going into this game. A lot of Europeans want some easy money, and they trick everyone because people hear European accent. They think, oh, that guy's trustworthy. They think he's like John Oliver or something like that. That's what Americans think. They think as soon as they hear a European accent, they go, oh, this guy must be smart.
Well, Qubitekk was American, by the way. You know.
Yeah, dude, we hold an L. I mean, we hold an L for Qubitekk. I'm not gonna pretend that we're perfect either. Okay, obviously we do our fair share of scumbag behavior. But hey, man, it's been great talking to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Here. Thanks for having me on, and hope this can help some people make the right decisions when they think about investing.
Yes, and don't throw good money after bad money. I mean, I think that was a huge mistake to go into the second. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. I get it. I'm not trying to, make you relive this, but the idea of let me go make my money back real quick seems like it's always going to be a bad choice.
It's like being on the rebound, trying to find the next girlfriend after you get dumped by the previous one.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you, man. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate your time. Wait. Sorry, guys. We got to come back into this show because we were off air. And then you started telling me that there's another thing you're looking into, something called Qubitekk now that's offering less money, but it is kind of a hype still.
Sort of, yes. But they have a little bit more real base for their making profits. And there's some things that'll make so that they won't fail as fast.
Wait. Hold on. What do these guys do? Can you tell me about them?
Okay, so basically they do trading based on artificial intelligence, and they had quantum computer trading as well.
Okay.
So that's how they generate profits. And
how much are they saying they're going to make you per day?
About 1% per day. About 1% per day. So that's 30% per month. But they do less than 1%, probably 25% per month, but they keep paying you until you get 250%. So if you put in $10,000, you'll get $25,000 around 10 months later, but you'll get daily payments of 1%. So why I started this one is because they have some things that I like. One is that we put our money in Bitcoin, but it's managed in US Tether. Are you familiar with Tether? Tether is always $1. So it doesn't fluctuate like Bitcoin going up and down. So Alcore failed when it went up like 20%, when Bitcoin went 20%. They just couldn't pay it. I believe that's one of the reasons. So it's stable. It's always 1-to-1. And when you take out your interest, it's in Bitcoin. So you can take it to your wallet. Okay. Another thing is that they can adjust the amount of profit you make per day. In Alcore, it was like, if they said 2%, it was like 2% per day. And they had to pay that every day. Okay. So that's a formula for failure. Another thing is that I've done Zooms with the CEO, the marketing director, the master distributor, and also there's a big team of directors that I will be on a Zoom next week to really see that this is actual AI computing and quantum computing. So they also rent out their license that they have a patent on for the quantum computing, and that's also a base for the income. So there's less chance for this to fail because they have more outs. In poker, we say outs. You know, they can adjust
Do
things.
you think this is another Ponzi scheme, though?
It could be. It could be, you know, but if it is, they're really putting themselves out there into the public. And normally Ponzi schemes, they don't want to do that. Like my guy, Alex, he had a face mask on and he said, well, we're important.
Oh, it's Qubitekk.
Yeah. So
IBM I now
find
it. I've been trying to find this website. I finally found it.
Yeah,
but let me tell you, I mean, let me give you a quick prophecy here, because I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Okay.
Say that there is absolutely I'm 100% certain that this is 100% another Ponzi scheme that you're getting into. And I find it fascinating that you're like, that you've gone from OneCoin
to Alcore.
To Alcore. Now you're doing Qubitekk. Stop, dude.
I know.
But you're addicted to it. You said, I don't know why these people are promoting these like fixed rate of returns and instead of promoting a product, but it's because people are falling for it, right? Like that's why.
Yeah.
And you're one of them.
Yeah. I fall for it as well. Yeah. Because, well, okay, there is robotic trading. Okay. And this is not.
Yes, but they're not making 1% a day though.
Well,
it's just like the bookie thing. It's just like the bookie thing. It's like a convenient excuse because they use something that sort of happens to justify why they're making so much money. But these guys, nobody's making 1% a day. And if they are, they would never share it with people. Why would they give you 1% a day? They could just keep it. You know how easy it is if you can consistently make 1% a day to grow a gigantic trading,
I get it.
What trading pool?
Okay, it's not always 1%. It's sometimes 0.8, 0.46.
It doesn't matter. That's such an insane return, Mark. Come on. That's an insane return. You've got these hedge funds full of a bunch of geniuses from Stanford struggling to make 20% a year. And you're saying they're making 1% a day, roughly.
Well, I mean, if you've done robotic trading, 20% per month is not that difficult sometimes. Okay, it is possible. All right. So I've done it, and I've actually taken out money and MT4, and metaphor trading. If you look into robots usually give 10, maybe 15% per month. It depends though. I mean,
this is no. Wait. No.
I want to believe.
Would you say it's common to kind of jump from one hype to another after they blow up?
Yes, actually, in between Alcore and Qubitekk, there was a few that I jumped into, yeah, and I lost again. So I'm a little more careful.
There's hypes we don't even know about. So, okay. Mark, you're killing me.
Three more in between.
You have withheld the lead this whole time Okay, so you run us through the actual gamut of hypes that you've been in. So you were in OneCoin, and then it was Alcore. Then what was it?
For ForEyes, which
ForEyes.
died in the day I put it in. Actually, died.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what?
Then there was one called Lebronic that gives 2.4% per day, which is still going. Actually, I still have that one. And I did one that gives 20% every hour. And that one did not. I could not take the money out of that one.
Hang on. Sorry, I accidentally hit my mic out. I was laughing. 20% an hour.
Yes, there's a lot like that.
Oh my gosh. And what happened to that one?
It didn't pay out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it? Because, okay, obviously basically all of these have turned out to be scams in one way or the other. You have to know at a certain point. So what's the incentive for you? Are you actually making money on these? I mean, are you actually making money, and you're like, cause you have this whole group. So are you actually somehow with all the downlines, uplines, all that kind of stuff, are you ending up with money through these?
Well, let's put it this way. I did not lose in Alcore. Okay, I made more than I put in. The other ones I lost. OneCoin as well, I also made money. Okay, more than I lost. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today. I'd be 9 to 5. I'm 55. I'm not going to do a 9 to 5 job. It's not possible.
Sure.
I'd be doing something else.
Could you retire at this point? I mean, it seems like you have quite a bit of money.
I could with less costs, but I live in Japan, which is quite spendy.
Okay.
We just moved to a new place, because we thought we'd do really well in Alcore, and we already signed the contract to move somewhere else. But my goal is to get $35,000 per month, like your other guests you had, per month in passive income, and that the formula for that is actually real estate. I know that, but to reach that level of income, you need to have several properties, and I'm not there yet, to be honest, but I do want to reach that within hopefully this year.
Do you think that's realistic in the time frame of a year? I mean, how could you possibly grow your assets that much? I guess maybe the answer is in a hype.
I could make that money, but what I'm saying is that I want to make that money in real estate with passive income. I have 3 or 4 properties. I have 3 properties, and actually 3 are overseas, so about 6 properties right now. Some are not cash flowing, but it's possible. Yes, it's possible.
Now, let me know what you think about this, because there's an interesting problem here, which is that it seems now, I didn't know you had made money with Alcore. I thought you had lost a bunch of money. So it seems like you lose money at the end when they take all the money out, but you've made more money than you've lost because you're kind of the leader of this group. Now, doesn't that perversely incentivize you to keep going out and finding these things where you can make a quick buck? But doesn't that hurt the people who are following you? What do you think about that?
Yeah. So I need to be really careful is what I'm thinking. I need to be careful about the next step when I do actually bring something to them that is really solid. And I've learned my lesson, obviously. Obviously you don't want to bring something to people that is going to fail. You want to, and we were really, believing in both of these companies, to be honest. I mean, I won't lie to you. We really thought this was real. I mean, OneCoin or Alcore.
But after seeing the pattern, though, I do get how you could fall for it in the first place. 100%, I totally get it. But once you see the pattern of, okay, they promise this insane return, and if you just look at other investments, nobody's paying out this return. So you have to ask yourself, what about this opportunity is actually making that much money? And it seems like the answer is always, the only thing that makes sense is it's a Ponzi scheme, because Ponzi schemes can always promise those returns. there's not really other investments out there that can rival that kind of, oh, we're just going to pay you 1% a day. So tell me, what is it that like you're consistently thinking that there's actually an opportunity out there that will offer you that legitimately, when it seems like all of your experiences are that these keep being illegitimate?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, you know, obviously we want to find a company that will last. I mean, that will continue. You know, not that we want to continue the Ponzi, but we want the people to get their money back. We want to have people have, you know, solid returns as well. I mean, hedge funds fail, you know, other investments fail, you know, companies go bust, penny stocks. I mean, you won't be
right, but their organizational structure is not built on fraud,
yes,
though,
fraud,
like which is Ponzi
obviously.
schemes are.
Right.
So let me ask you: would you go into a Ponzi scheme knowing it's a Ponzi scheme if you knew you could make the amount of money that you need to retire?
Not if I knew it was going to hurt people. That's for sure.
But what if you kind of didn't know, but it's going to make you a ton of money and it's a good Ponzi scheme? It's a nice, sexy Ponzi scheme with a lot of return, a lot of percentages.
Well, like I said, if I knew that from the beginning, you know, I wouldn't let them do it.
Okay. And let me ask you this. What do you think the chances are that Qubitekk is a Ponzi scheme?
What are the chances it is?
Yeah, like right now, like on your mind, not in the abstract, just in your mind, if you, based on what you know, what you've seen of the founders, all this kind of stuff, what do you think the chances are that this is a Ponzi scheme?
I don't want to call it a Ponzi scheme because, you know, Ponzi schemes are made to fail from the beginning. That's the definition of it. You know, Albert Ponzi created it that way. But there are companies that fail, okay? And I don't think this is a company that is wanting to fail on purpose and just take people's money and run, okay? I feel it's a solid, genuine company with actual management, actual, you know, leadership and management. So,
but you probably felt the same way about Alcore right up
yeah.
until they ran. So my question is not what do you think the intentions of the founder are, but based on their structure of paying out an extraordinarily high return per day, what do you think the chances are that it ends up turning out to be a Ponzi? Like if we remove the mask, the algorithmic trading, the quantum computing was all an excuse, the same way that betting was an excuse, and it actually was just a Ponzi scheme. What do you think the chances are? Just give me a number. I mean, to be clear, you're not calling it a Ponzi scheme. I'm just giving you, like, give me odds, right? If we had to bet today on it, what would it be?
10-1 that it's not, you know.
Okay, so you think there's like a 10% chance it's a Ponzi scheme?
Yeah, 10%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, this has been fascinating. I mean, I think I really want to get to the heart of what makes these things be so chaseable, because that is what I am finding. I'll say I got into a FutureNet, the group of people who got their money stolen, and somebody said, "Oh yeah, I've been here before. I basically been here with crypto global MLMs before." And I was like, "Wow, that's pretty exclusive club of, you know, things. What do you mean you've been here before? How many times have you been here?" And so that's when I realized there are people who just go from one of these to the next. And I had never seen that before, but now it's making sense. You kind of are chasing these high incomes because you want to make a lot of money fast, or is it like,
no, I want something that'll last, to be honest. You know, I want something that will be here, you know, at least 5 to 10 years down the road. That's how we make money in MLM, is that the longer it lasts, you know, the more people come in, and the more money we make. So we don't want something that's just a quick fix. We want, to be honest, if you made $10,000 in Amway, that's an achievement. You know, it's really hard. It's really hard. And that's a company that's not going to go away. You know, something like that. I mean, traditional MLM.
But you keep going after these money-making MLMs.
Yes.
These
I'm
financial
still in the
companies.
finance industry.
Why
Exactly.
though? Why? You're saying not to
Yeah,
go into it. It's so funny because you're saying like, don't do it, guys. This is a big
yeah,
mistake. And then you're telling me actually that you're still going into it.
yeah. Because I'm trying to find something that's safer, and that's real this time because I'm a little bit more knowledgeable now about these hypes. Okay, hopefully this one is more real than the others.
But what makes it more real than the others though?
Well, the management, actually talking to the people, being able to Zoom with them, seeing their vision, actually seeing the traders doing the trading on the platforms.
Okay, but all of that can be faked and nothing about, look, we're doing a Zoom right now, but that doesn't mean that you know that like I'm an inherently trustworthy guy. It just means that you've done a Zoom call with me.
Yeah. I mean, it could be fake, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, to go to that extent to make everything, fake is at that level that, I know right now about the company, it'd be pretty hard, to be honest. I mean, they've got real traders, they've got real management people. So, but I'm still, in the beginning phases. I just started like 2 weeks ago.
Why do you think they would offer you such a high rate of return if they can make that much?
Well, in basic trading, the more money you have, the more you can make total profit from everything.
Assuming your strategies don't cap out at larger scale. But at the same time, many investors are completely happy with making 20% a year. So assuming they could make all this money, why wouldn't they just offer everyone 10% a year, leverage the account to the moon? Like it seems like they're targeting a specific class of people who are willing to believe, who want this 1% daily. Like what I'm saying is, even if they could make the money, why would they give it back to the investors? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, people use MLM and to get more money to do the trading. I mean, obviously the cash base is from the investors, and that's basically it's like a fund. It's like a hedge fund. Where they
I totally get what you're saying. Like they're offering it to lure investors to get more money, to trade with more money, right? To make more money. But what I'm saying is that people, like legitimate institutional investors, are ponying up millions and billions of dollars just to make 5% more a year on the stock market, right? Than the S&P makes. They put up millions of dollars into these hedge funds, which, as you pointed out, even those fail. So what I'm saying is we're talking about, that's like for like a 20% return, 25% return. What I'm saying is it's super easy to lure investors with slightly better than average returns. So if this technology was actually real and it could actually be demonstrated, they wouldn't have to give away over 300% returns a year. Or what did you say? They pay out to 250%. They wouldn't have to give that much out to lure investors. So what I'm saying is, from an incentive standpoint, automatically it seems self-evident that this technology is not real because they're not demonstrating it to real investors. And that's where you could really pull in the real investment money, right? Like, yeah, so they're instead targeting a bunch of people who don't know that much about finance, right? Or it seems to me
much about trading. Yeah,
right.
That could happen as well, But I know a little bit about trading, and I know that you cannot fake, actual trading. And Binance account, they show your actual Binance account, and they show the trading on that Binance account, and they have a much more transparency than Alcore did, in this company.
I see. So that's kind of making you think it might be a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I won't grill you anymore. Yeah, cross fingers. But I wanted to thank you for coming on and being so transparent and so clear. I do think this will help a lot of people. I really do. I think a lot of people, I think, will get a good sort of education out of this, see this world, because I don't think most people know it exists. And yeah, thank you for coming on, Mark. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Coffee.
I hope Qubitekk turns out to be I hope it turns out to be legitimate. I just, I have my opinions on it. So anyway, thanks for coming on the show.
Keep in touch.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what goes on and what happens.
Yeah, I want to hear about it.
Okay,
Thanks.
super. I'll keep watching your channel too.
Appreciate it.